So we're going to start with a little bit of algebra review, and then this test on functions is tomorrow. Here's an algebra review question. Tons of kids actually got stumped, and I get it. There's a weird kind of fraction that they had to handle. And a ton of kids didn't know how to solve that. Once they stuck the one function in the other function, which is the algebra 2 part, they got to this, which is algebra 1, and they were like, how do I solve that? Let's see if you know. If you don't, I'll show you. How many would agree that you think this would be a hard question on a test? Like that a lot of kids would struggle with this. Okay, nobody's going to say it, but it's true. I know that right this second, there's a lot of you struggling with it. Just not willing to admit it. All right, so here's what you do. You multiply both sides by something that will clear the fraction, and that's x minus 5. And when you do that, this cancels this, and all of a sudden it's just 2 equals 4x minus 20. If you knew that secret, raise your hand. I'm curious how many people knew that. Well, that's about half of you. All right. The other half of you, I don't know how you would have solved it. But this is a way that for sure works. And from here, you just have to add 20 to both sides. So now we're at 22 equals 4x. Divide both sides by 4. And reducing, is that like a big deal? Yes. On the test, if you don't reduce, I have to mark it wrong. And the lowest amount that can ever cost you is 5%. That's if it's in the best case scenario. Sometimes it costs you a whole grade because you didn't reduce something. Serious. So this would be 11 times 2 over 2 times 2. That's my favorite way of reducing, because then I can just go like that, and the answer is 11 over 2. Okay. Let's make sure that really stuck, because only half of you got it right in the first place. 4 over n minus 3 equals 7. Solve for n. Now there's two kinds of kids. One kind is going to add 3 first. Totally fine. You can do that. The other kind of kid is going to multiply by n first. Also okay. I personally am going to add 3 first, because then I have less things I got to multiply by n. Otherwise, I'd have to times this by n, and this by n, and that by n. So I'd rather add 3 first. 4 over n equals 10. Now, if I times both sides by n, 4 equals 10n. And I'm almost done. Just divide by 10. Make sense? All right. That was one of the algebra things that got people today. Here's another one. Tons of kids thought, and I get it, I understand what you're thinking, they thought this and this could cancel, and they can't. Let me explain why they can't. You see a 5 and you see a 15, and you're like, can't you reduce that? No, you can't. Let me explain. If I use simpler numbers, I think you'll get it. 2 plus 7 over 7. Now, if you think about this, that's really just 9 over 7, isn't it? Is it the exact same if I just cancel these 7s? Is that 9 over 7 now? No, it's not. Definitely not. So we know it's 9 over 7. So then you should be able to say, yeah, I cannot cancel those 7s like that. So you might think you can cancel this, but you can't. Why not? We just did one that was like that. No, it was a multiply. See, if it was 2 times 7 over 7, that would be 14 over 7, right? And that's 2. So when I cancel these, it is 2. See, you can cancel when it's like this, but you cannot cancel when it's like that. So when they're multiplies like this, when it's being multiplied, that's the kind where you can cancel. All right, so later on today, you're going to be tempted to do that. Don't do that. You can't reduce that. one of your answers for the homework today. I literally had 3 people come up and ask me if I could cancel that. And that tells me a lot of people thought that you could. Because see, if 3 people asked, that probably means there was at least 6 people that were gonna cancel it. Just 3 of them didn't even think to ask. Okay, so, can't cancel when it's like that. So I'll give you one last one. Can or can't you cancel? Can you cancel one like that? Can you reduce that? Yes, you can. If I put a plus in here, could I reduce that? No, I could not. Okay, good. I think you get the difference. If it's times, it's 3 times n, then I can make it 3 times n over 3 times 9, and then those cancel, and it's n over 9. Okay, so can or can't you cancel is kind of a big deal in this class. All right, now I want to get to what the actual test questions are going to be like. You remember how there's like f function, the g function, and the easiest baby level problem of these is if I said f of x is 2x squared plus 1, and I said what's f of 3, you got to be able to do that. So let's start with the easiest of them all, and then I'll slowly work you up to get to the ones that I would bet money only half of you will be able to do, even today, and yet the test is tomorrow. So there's going to be a couple of hard questions out there. But remember, on our typical test, you can get 3 wrong and still get an A. All right, there's a kid right next to you who has the same questions as you. Would you please compare with them? Right next to you. You two today? Compare answers. You're talking to
Can I offer you a donut?
Wow. Hey, tell me the occasion.
Vintage.
All right.
I'm just giving out to all my favorite teachers.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much.
All righty.
Thanks very much.
You guys have a nice day.
Anybody know him? You've seen him before? All right, good. So you can vouch for him. I just want to make sure he wasn't like delivering poisoned donuts. If you know him, then I could figure he's probably fine. Okay, so did you put a 3 in, and you get 3 squared is 9, and then times 2 is 18, plus 1 is 19. Who had 19? Raise your hand if you had 19. Cool. I hope so, because that's like the easiest question on there. All right, so what if I put in not just 3, what if I said n plus 3, or x, let's use x just to make your life a little easier. What if I said x plus 3? That's what you need to stick in now. This is what you're putting into the function. So the x plus 3 just goes right in here. But again, a few of you, your algebra is not there yet. You still don't remember algebra because you're going to think this is x squared plus 9, and it's not. That is not what we do. And if you thought it was that, you still haven't got your silver 20 really important algebra skills down yet. And now, by now, it's been a while. Like, you could have worked on it if you really wanted to. There was videos for every single one of those. X plus 3 and x plus 3. That's what you do. That's what squared really means. Now go ahead and multiply that all the way out. And in a second, I'm going to ask you to compare it with the kid next to you. All right, please compare with that kid next to you. See what you got. All right, so I have 2x squared plus 12x, and then 2 times the 9 makes 18, add the 1, 19. You feeling like you would still be getting an A on the test so far? Okay, good. Now, what if I gave you 2 functions? Everybody write this down. F of x is x squared minus 9. G of x is 4x. Now, this is one of the harder ones for people. What's f of g of 1? This is not hard. This is like harder. This is like medium level. Mr. Breen, tell me how to start.
Yeah, you find G of 1.
Yeah.
Plug that in.
Wait, stop. That's how you start. Find G of 1. And hopefully, when you stuck the 1 into the G function, you ended up with 4. I'd cross this off and put a 4, and then you just got to do f of 4. And f of 4 becomes 16 minus 9. 16 minus 10 would have been 6, so it's one more than that. How about 7? Who got 7? Raise your hand if you had 7. Awesome. Okay. Now, up to the way harder level. See who remembers this one. And if you don't, it's okay. This is probably one of the hardest kind that exists. I'm going to say f of 4x minus 3 is equal to, no, I'm going to say g of that, sorry. G of that is equal to 16. These kind confuse even me. And so I scribble out part of it and try to make the problem easier by scribbling out part of it. Do you remember what I'm talking about? This is the kind where I scribble out the inside. So if you get stuck, if you got your way and you can tell me what x is, awesome. That's fantastic. If not, scribble out the inside. Start there. All right, this is what I mean. To me, that makes the problem so hard I can't think. So I scribble that out and I go, what needs to be here? G of what would be 16? G of some number would give me 16. Would G of 1 give me 16? No, that'd give me 4. G of 2, that'd give me 8. G of 4. G of 4 would give me 16. I could put a 4 right here, and I'd get 16, wouldn't I? G of 4 gives me 16. Get how I did that? I thought through G of what would give me 16. G of 4 would give me 16. So then, this whole thing that I scribbled out, which I can still barely read in there, which was 4x minus 3, I think, right? Must be equal to 4. Like, these have to be equal to each other. And then I can just solve that. I know, tough one. But some of you got it. I know some of you got it. Who had 7 over 4? All right, it's more than half the class on one of the hardest questions. I think we should do another one like that though, because that was rough. All right, I want to make 2 more functions, and we're going to call it p of x and m of x. P of x is going to be 2x plus 8, and m of x is just going to be 3x squared. Now, what if I said p of m of x, and that's it? I said, what's p of m of x? When I get confused, well, I can't just scribble out the inside or I have nothing left. You know what I mean? If I go scribble out the inside, I have p of nothing equals nothing, and that doesn't help me. So then I gotta go, well, he usually says start on the inside, so I'll start here. I guess, oh, I do know what mx is, m of x. Was anybody gone yesterday when I handed out these worksheets? This is yesterday's worksheet. Let's start. Okay.
I did it online.
Oh,
I just copied
you can totally do that. You don't have to copy it. You just drop it, drop it, drop it. Everybody else, would you take out your worksheet that I assigned yesterday? If anybody's now realizing, oh crap, I didn't need one, you can have this one. But if you did this worksheet yesterday, please take it out and set it on top of your desk. I'll be collecting those in a bit. All right, m of x, I know what m of x is. It's 3x squared, because it says so right above. And now it's p of that. So now I put this into the p function. And if I was going to put it somewhere, I wouldn't really put it there. I'd put it there. And now I have 2 parentheses where I drop in the 3x squared plus 8. That's just a copy of this with a 3x squared in it. And now I multiply it out, and I end up with 6x squared plus 8. Who had that one right? Nice. Okay. Now, there's 2 other kinds of questions. Sometimes we go off of charts, and sometimes we go off of graphs. I think the graphs confuse people the most, so I'm going to hit you with that next, because then your brain's going to start getting tired, and we'll try the graphs first while your brain is still fresh. I'm going to give you 3 points. That's going to be 1, 3. And this is going to be 5, 6. This is going to be 10, 1. All right. Easiest level for this is just if I say f of 1, you got to be able to know what that is. And I hope that that's easy, but we'll find out. F of 1. And there's 2 places that there's a 1 up there. The answer is just a single number. Would you please compare with the kid next to you? What do you think? F of 1 is 3. In fact, for each of these points, you could write that. F of 1 is 3. This one's f of 10 is 1. And for this point, you could say f of 5 is 6. If you haven't learned that a point means that, you got to learn that now. So f of 1 is 3, and look, right there is the same as this. F of 1 is 3, cool. All right, so of course, they get way harder. That was the easiest thing. what if I say f of I don't know is 1? Well, each time when you get stuck, I encourage you to ask yourself, did they tell me X or did they tell me Y? And in this case, I definitely told you Y, because that's the Y. F of X is Y, and Y equals 1, so I told you Y equals 1, and so it's that point. So the answer is X equals 10. We good on that? Okay. Then, where they get harder. F of 5x minus 4 equals 6. That is a hard problem, but we've done other ones like it this hour. This time, I would love it if you would just take a second. Ask the kid next to you, what did you do to start? How did you start this one? Okay? Because if they're not started, maybe you could share how to start. Maybe you don't know. Okay? Talk to them about how to start this one. You lost, it's okay.
I know it's 5, so I know why I almost 2 is 10.
5 is 6.
You just do 5x minus 4 is 6. And you just solve that down.
F of 5.
To get what x is.
I just gotta check that. F of 5
And
is
then 6 is done.
okay. Welcome. I'll have to mark you absent, but if you have a pass, then excuse me. All right. So here we go. I think I was talking to a kid in the back. He didn't have a partner. And we had established so far that f of 5 would be 6, because look, right here. And what I usually do is I just scribble this out until I'm ready. And I go, f of what is 6? Oh, that must be 5. And now that I know that that scribbled out stuff must be 5, I make an equation out of it. And what it said underneath there was 5x minus 4, and now I know that must equal 5. And then I'm going to add 5 to both sides, no, 4 to both sides, and I get 5x equals 9. And I divide by 5, and I have 9/5. Who had 9 over 5 as an answer? Okay, cool. You're getting this, and those are some of the toughest ones. I know. These sometimes they're like, God, I can't follow it. I don't get it. And you'll have time today to work on a bunch of these. All right. So there's the kind that come from a graph. Now let's move to the kind that come from a chart. You do not have to copy this chart. You'll always be given the chart. Now, if I asked you, here's the easiest level one from a chart. What's g of 1? I on purpose didn't pick one where you could make an, you could definitely do this wrong if you don't know how to do it. G of 1 is what? Please talk to the kid next to you. G of 1 is what? I heard a lot of 4s and you were correct. G of 1 is 4. Okay. Now, could we step it up a notch, please, Mr. Survey? Is it a little too easy? Okay, good. Then G of X is 3. So this is different. Last time I was telling you the x, now I'm not. Now I'm telling you I don't know the x, but I know the answer comes out to 3, so it must be using this, and I know the answer comes out to 3. I don't know which x it is. Like, it could be any of these, but I'm not sure. But I know the answer comes out to 3, and so it's f of 3 is, or sorry, g of 3 is 3. I'm just going to write that. Make sure you get. If you know that g of 3 is 3, you can write this fact right underneath it. G of 3 is 3. Well, then x must be 3. Okay. Do them however you, whatever makes sense to you, as long as you got the right answer, which was 3. G of 3 was 3. So g of 3 is 3. Okay, next kind. The brutal kind where you need to scribble out the inside. See if you can do this. F of 4x minus 1 is equal to 2. This kind, I scribble out the inside, and I figure it out that way. F of what is 2? F of 1 is 2. I'm just going to write it right underneath. And then you can tell that these must be equal to each other. So 4x minus 1 needs to equal 1. So 4x needs to equal 2. I added 1 to both sides. X equals 2 over 4, which is 1/2, or 0.5. Who got 1/2? Okay, awesome. So, are there any more that might stump you? Absolutely. There's a review, and on that review, you're going to please talk to that kid next to you if you get stuck, or walk up and ask me. But if you want to fail this test, here's the perfect plan. Go through this worksheet, and when there's like 4 of them that you don't understand, just don't seek help. Because then those 4 will come up again on the test tomorrow, and you still won't know how to do it. You know what I mean? If you get stuck, you got to find out how to do it. And that could be from the key. It could also be from me. It could also be from the kid next to you. There's going to be several times you get stuck today. The question is, will you seek the help to figure it out? All right. And that is all our review, and the test on this is coming tomorrow. That's all I got for the review for today.